Well, let's talk about all this with Maslansky and Partners President Lee Carter and Kadina Group President Gary Smith. Thank you both for joining me.
So nice to be here.
Lee, let's talk about these tensions here within the progressive, the Democratic coalition. President Biden, said he wants to be a uniter, as we've said, but the decision to cancel the Keystone pipeline, is costing jobs. His broader energy plan is almost certain to cost many good-paying, many of them union jobs. I wonder where this is going to. I wonder how this is going to unfold.
It's really fascinating because he promised to be a moderate. He promised to run as a uniter. And here he is in his first 100 days, he's done several things that I think are indicating that he's not necessarily that and that he's not necessarily moderate. I think union workers have a reason to be concerned. He's always had the image of being union friendly. And yet there's very little evidence to support that he is, in fact, union friendly. In fact, the only time that he joined a picket line was in 1987. And then he did one other time when he was running for president this time. His record just doesn't support that he is as pro-union as people, as his image would present. And I think that that's going to be a real problem for him because what he's said and what he's doing are two different things. What he said about unions, he's doing something very different here. What he said about unity, his behaviors with saying, we're going to do it without Republicans if we need to. He's not even trying to be a uniter. So I think his actions are speaking louder than his words did.
Gary, again, the president says he wants to be a uniter, but we're seeing some of these fractures emerge. How do you think this is going to? How do you think it's going to play out?
Well, it's interesting. I think he's also said, I want to be a union president. And yet unions, it's ironic that unions are now about 10% of the working population, probably a lot less if you take out the federal government, which is almost entirely unionized. I wish he would just state and have the actions, per, what Leah said. I just want to be a jobs president. Wherever the best jobs are, wherever they take you. For example, in the Amazon, segment that we just talked about, I wish, his stance would be, well, if it's best for the workers and best for Amazon, I'm all for it. If it's not, then let them hash it out. But again, he has political favors to pay off. And I'm sure, when the unions, start voting again, he'll kind of take that side. I think you've seen it. He's kind of alluded to taking that. Certainly he wants to make the federal government bigger, which is pro-union right off the top. He's certainly in favor of teachers, probably the other biggest union in the country, staying off the job. So he's got a fine line, but in the end, he's going to probably side with the unions, which is kind of sad.
And Lee, we're seeing some other tensions in the progressive, in the Democratic coalition over the stimulus plans, over the COVID relief plans. The president and Democrats want to press ahead, and Congress want to press ahead with their $1.9 trillion plan. Some Democrats have been expressing some warnings that may be a little bit too ambitious. You saw Larry Summers, former Treasury Secretary, warning at the weekend that this could be too much. The economy maybe doesn't need all that additional stimulus. It could be creating problems down the road. And you're also seeing, at the same time, pressure from the left of the Democratic Party want to do even more. They want to send out more checks, more child tax credits. They want to send out bigger amounts of money. So where does this go? Where is the Democratic Party headed here?
Look, the Democratic Party, I think, is really trying to send the message to Americans that they are the party that's going to fight for working class Americans. And Republicans are trying to do the same thing. And so to the extent that this $1.9 trillion package is Joe Biden's effort at saying, look, we're going to be the party that's going to fight for you. We're going to rescue America. They're calling a rescue plan. It's very popular. More than 2/3 of Americans support it. They want to see more stimulus checks. They want to see the $15 minimum wage. They want to see all of this happen. The problem is anybody who fights it then looks like they're not fighting for the American working class if they have different ideas on how that we stimulate the economy. And so I think the biggest problem that's in front of the American people right now is that the Republicans aren't presenting a fair case. They're not saying this is why what we're offering is better in the long term. Yes, we believe that people need support in the short term, and here's a better way to do it so that we're not going to end up paying this off for generations to come. And I think the Republicans are really at a disadvantage right now because they're not making their case.